welcome back to Comic Frontline, everybody. I am Brant Fowler, aka the Gonzo Goose, back with you for another review, and this is one I am excited about. X-Men Gold #1, written by Mark Guggenheim, with art by Ardian Syaf, inks by Jay Leiston, colors by Frank Martin, letters by VC's Corey Petit, a bunch of different variant cover artists. I'm not even going to go into all that. You can look at the credits yourself when you read the book, because you're going to want to read this book. And before I even get into the actual review, I'm going to tell you, if you like classic X-Men, if you like 90s X-Men, if you like back to the basics X-Men, this is the X-Men book for you. If you have walked away from X-Men like I did for a while because you weren't happy with the direction it was going, you're going to want to pick this up and jump right in. And you don't have to worry about being lost because they explain it, and I'll get to all that. So, let's go into the book. This is a brand new start for the X-Men. If you read X-Men Prime, you kind of know where this starts. Kitty Pryde is now the leader of the X-Men, and she has caused the entire school, the Xavier Institute, to materialize, manifest, transport, teleport, whatever you want to say, to Central Park. And that was a problem I had a little bit. It's like, you can't just plop down a whole mansion in Central Park. They address that. They cover it. They cover every basis. It's so cool. So she's leading the X-Men. This team is Kitty Pryde, Old Man Logan, Storm, Rachel Gray, who's now going by Prestige, Colossus, and Nightcrawler. Classic team. New faces. It's kind of like the old team, but new again. It's kind of weird, but I love Kitty Pryde as the leader. She's earned her stripes, basically, to get to this point. And we go through all these kind of things about her, her old code names and this and that, and how, she's dated Peter, and she kind of jokes at one point, is it too late to go back to the Guardians of the Galaxy, or being stuck in the bullet, and blah, blah, blah. Lots of different things. It's just awesome. It was all from Kitty's perspective. Obviously, she's the leader here, and she's got big shoes to fill. There's been, some very notable leaders of the X-Men: Cyclops, Professor X, Magneto. She's got big shoes to fill, and she knows that. But she is doing a fantastic job when they go up against Terrax and they go up against this other threat at the end of the issue. She's like calling the shots, and everybody's just following her lead. Like it's just natural. And this was just classic X-Men. It's boiled down back to the basics. There are people, against them because they're mutants, because they're Homo superior, and it feels like that classic vibe. And they keep saying throughout the issue, what's old is, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And that's kind of an adage that definitely applies here, but in a good way, because yes, all these characters have grown and they've come through a lot, and they do address some of that, and they're in a different place now. But at the same time, it always comes back to that core, part of what the X-Men are, which is a race of people that are feared and misunderstood and attacked because they're different. And that is the core of the X-Men. That's what the X-Men has always been, and that's what makes the X-Men so good. And just fantastic issue here. The story picks up again with them fighting Terrax, and it was just this classic X-Men battle. And then you see them at the school, kind of, getting back to just being people again, playing some baseball, chatting on the bleachers, and dealing with the city of New York coming at them because they have a big mansion in the middle of Central Park. And just, you get that inner monologue, that narration going through it. And that's basically what this issue is. It's kind of an introduction, but you get plenty of action both on the beginning and the end of the book. And it kind of sets the new status quo, which feels a lot like the old, very old status quo, but in a very good way. It's modernized, it's updated, and I think this is a really solid team, and I think they could do fantastic things. I think this was the absolute right direction to go with the X-Men. This is the direction that X-Men fans wanted this book to go, wanted these characters to go. And it's not that, okay, I've heard the complaints that, it feels like, you're reading old X-Men instead of, new characters and new stories, but it's not like that. It's like I said, there are themes within the X-Men that need to stay, or they lose sight of what the X-Men are, and it becomes something completely different. And I think here that they've made it exactly what it's supposed to be. And like I said, all these characters have grown, and you're going to see them face new kinds of threats, but you're also going to see them still dealing with the same problems that they've always dealt with, because that just never fully goes away. And I think that speaks to what they represent. Like I said, they are a race of people that are feared and misunderstood, and that kind of feeling never goes away. That kind of attack never fully goes away, and we know this. It's right on the pulse of everything that we deal with in day-to-day life, and everything politically and religious and so on and so forth. It's just all around us, and so it's always topical, the X-Men, and that's what made the X-Men different. That's what made them stand out. And I love in this issue that they addressed why they are singled out. When you have Inhumans and Avengers and other superpowered beings, they're singled out because they're the only ones that are born like this, that develop into this, and they are basically weapons of mass destruction. And I love going that direction with it. So I mean, there were so many layers to this. I love the characters that they've chosen for this team. The connection between Old Man Logan and Kitty Pryde, it feels like classic Wolverine and Kitty, and it fits. They have this nice banner back and forth. There's this point where they're talking to the representative of the city, of the mayor's office, and Logan's like, we didn't really give you much of a choice, and she's just like, Logan, come on. And she's very straight, and he's just throwing little barbs at this guy, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful dialogue throughout this. The action scenes, it was like, hold him up for a minute, blah blah blah. It was just, I don't know, everything just flowed very nicely. And if you were lost at all, if you didn't know what was going on, where the X-Men come into this, at the end they have all these classic clips, panels from past X-Men tells, and they have narration kind of basically walking you through the entire history of the X-Men from the very beginning into right at the end of Inhumans versus X-Men. So you get the entire history right at the back of the issue. Fantastic addition to it. I love this book. I highly recommend this book. As an X-Men fan, I can't recommend it enough. If you're an X-Men fan, you're going to want to read this book. So my hat's off to Guggenheim, Psyoff, and team. You did a wonderful job, and I can't wait to read more issues of this. I'm giving this one high marks. You're just going to have to wait until the live show. Hopefully I'll be able to send my top 5 in. I won't be on next week, unfortunately, to talk about this beautiful book, but I have a feeling it's going to be a contender for, high on my top 5. We'll just put it like that. So, it's a review, so I do have to give you stars. I'm actually going to give this 5 stars. Perfect book for me. Perfect X-Men book. Perfect direction for X-Men to go. I had no issues with it. I thought the art was fantastic. I love the facial expressions. There was this one close-up of Kitty when she's looking at the bill that the mayor's office representative handed her, and it's just this, you get this concern, but at the same time it's just like, and then you get the wide eye like, oh my god, what have I done? The expressions, the action, Terrax looked phenomenal. Best I've seen Terrax in a long time. There was debris everywhere. She phases through an entire skyscraper as it falls through the ground. It was just fantastic. Beautiful book. Beautifully written, beautifully illustrated. High marks for me. So, let me know what you thought in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And, of course, watch all the other content here on Comic Frontline and tune into our live shows on Tuesday. You can follow me on LastEmperorPress.com, Zone4Podcast.com, and What the Card on YouTube, and of course my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Brant Fowler, for more from me. So until next time, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video.